If your mother's tears could show you your future, would you still let her cry? This is not just a question, it's a warning. There was once a son who believed success meant money, fame, and power. He thought nothing could stop him, not even the tears of the woman who gave him life. But life has a strange way of reflecting back what we give, and every tear he ignored became a shadow in his own journey. When he was a child, his mother was his entire world. She held his tiny fingers when he took his first steps. She stayed awake on nights when fever burned his little body, whispering prayers until the morning came. She sacrificed meals so he could eat a little more. She wore old clothes so he could look fresh and confident at school. Every dream she had was quietly replaced by his, and when he laughed, her whole world lit up. When he cried, it was as if her heart was breaking into 1,000 pieces. He was the center of her universe, but slowly he forgot that she was the foundation of his. As he grew older, the warmth of childhood began to fade. Ambition entered his heart, and with it, distance. At first it was small. He came home late, skipping the meals she had carefully prepared. She would wait at the table, the food turning cold, her eyes fixed on the door. He never noticed. Then came the hurried replies. "Not now, Ma. I'm busy." Her words, once precious to him, became background noise. And one evening, when she reminded him gently to rest, he snapped, "Stop interfering in my life." The silence that followed was heavier than any shout. She didn't argue. She didn't complain. She just lowered her eyes, and a single tear escaped. That was the first tear he ignored, but not the last. Success came quickly. His name was praised, his wealth multiplied, and the world began to recognize him. But with every achievement, his heart grew colder. The boy who once ran into his mother's arms now felt she was holding him back. At family gatherings, when she tried to speak proudly of him, he rolled his eyes. And one day, in front of relatives, he snapped, "You don't understand anything about my world, Ma. Just stay quiet." Her smile froze. Her eyes glistened. She swallowed her pain, pretending not to care. But inside, something broke. She never raised her voice against him. She never cursed him. She only whispered prayers at night, while silent tears soaked her pillow. He thought he was rising higher than ever, but in reality, each tear she shed was carving cracks in the ground beneath his feet. Yet, every now and then, a spark of the old sun appeared. On her birthday, he surprised her with a gift. When she fell ill, he rushed to buy medicine. For a brief moment, her heart believed. Maybe he still remembers. Maybe he still cares. Her eyes shone with hope. She thought, "My son will come back to me." But pride is a cruel thief. Within days, his ambition pulled him away again. He forgot the medicine. He forgot the promises. He forgot her waiting at the window. One evening, after scolding her for calling him too often, he slammed the door and walked out. Behind him, she stood frozen, clutching her scarf, whispering, "Ya Allah, don't punish him for what he doesn't understand." Even in her pain, she prayed for him, but every unanswered prayer weighed heavier on his destiny, and he didn't even know it. And then came the night that changed everything. He returned home late, exhausted from chasing success. As he passed his mother's room, he heard a faint whisper. Curious, he stopped. Through the half-open door, he saw her, kneeling on her prayer mat, her frail hands trembling, her face wet with tears. But her prayer was not for herself. It was for him. "Ya Allah, protect my son. Forgive his mistakes. Don't let him be lost, even if I must suffer." Her voice cracked, and another tear fell onto the mat. In that moment, his heart tightened. For the first time, he felt fear. But pride is stubborn. He shook his head, telling himself, "She's just emotional." He walked away, never realizing that those very tears were a mirror, a reflection of what his life was about to become. Not long after, the cracks began to show. The deal he was certain about collapsed overnight. Trusted partners betrayed him. Friends who once filled his home vanished when the money slowed. He tried to smile through the storm, but inside, emptiness grew. At night, he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, haunted by a silence he couldn't explain. Every failure, every betrayal felt like an echo, and deep down he realized what it was, the reflection of her tears. The mirror of his mother's pain was showing itself in his life, and no matter how hard he fought, he couldn't escape the image staring back at him. One evening, broken and weary, he returned to the house he had once called home. The walls seemed older, quieter, and then he saw her, his mother sitting by the window, gray strands in her hair, her hands trembling as she held her prayer beads. Her body had weakened, but her lips still moved softly, praying for him. She looked up, and her tired eyes met his. There was no anger there, no blame, only love, and the same silent tears. At that moment, his chest tightened. He understood. Those tears had never been curses. They were warnings, mirrors, reflections of the pain he had given, now returned to him. And standing before her, he felt the weight of every word he had thrown, every moment he had ignored, every tear he had caused. The question that burned inside him was simple. Was it already too late? My friend, remember this. A mother's tears are not curses. They are mirrors. Whatever pain you bring to her, you will one day see reflected in your own life. You can build an empire, collect riches, and gain the world's applause. But if your mother sits alone in tears because of you, then your success is nothing but an empty shell. Don't wait for her silence to become a warning. Don't wait for her tears to write your story. If she is alive today, run to her, hug her, honor her. If she has left this world, let your prayers reach her soul, because the truest measure of a child's success is the smile on their mother's face. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs this reminder. Click the like button so more people can hear this message. Subscribe to this channel for more stories that awaken the soul. And tell me in the comments, what do your mother's prayers mean to you? Because sometimes one story can change a life.